Welcome back to Teach English Now. In this module, we visited the 1960s and the early 1970s to take a look at the cognitive approach and the affective humanistic approach. This was an interesting time in our history when research and people's general attitudes towards life and others influenced the way teachers taught in the classroom. In this video, we'll look at the important ideas from both approaches and then compare them to help you see both points of view. The cognitive approach was heavily influenced by researchers in psychology and sociology. Developments in technology allowed scientists to run simulations and see images of the brain at work. This fueled the desire to know how language was processed in the brain and how languages were learned. Because most researchers are attached to universities, there was also a great need to publish articles and books about the research. And indeed, some researchers became fairly well known in their fields and beyond. Noam Chomsky, a famous researcher of the time, was known for his research in many disciplines, including linguistics. One important thing we need to stress about the cognitive approach is that it is not a classroom approach. Much of the research at this time was done in labs and not in classrooms, and very few of the researchers were actually teachers themselves. People in this approach were more focused on the characteristics of the learner's brains than they were on specific materials or content. Similarly, these researchers did not examine any particular techniques or teaching methods. They focused more on the learner characteristics and strategies learners could use to improve their practice and recall of language information. The affective humanistic approach is almost exactly the opposite of the cognitive approach. In the early 1970s, people began to focus a lot on learners' feelings and looking for ways to remove some of the barriers to language learning that many learners experienced in the classrooms of the past. The major focus was on making learners comfortable and providing a soothing learning experience. Our caricature brought in tea, music, colorful posters, and aromas. He also had students sitting on mats instead of at desks and talked in a soothing voice. Teachers in this approach used plays and costumes, told stories, and played games with their students, all the while respecting their feelings and striving to make them feel comfortable. Some techniques from this approach included positive reinforcement, having students choose a new identity to get them out of their shells and encourage experimentation in the language, and being spontaneous and creative. Teachers often repeated reading and listening exercises multiple times, each time focusing on different aspects and combining these exercises with music or smells to unlock the subconscious mind. They often had students create, using singing and dancing and games to help students free their minds. It's time once more for you to consider each of these approaches and how you feel about the important points we've discussed from each. Then, you can complete the writing prompt by sharing which principles you agree with and which ones you disagree with and why, and by sharing which techniques you would like to apply in the classroom. As always, your peers will be able to review your responses and provide feedback. Thanks for watching. In our next module, we'll be looking at the last two approaches we cover in this course, the comprehension approach and the communicative approach. See you then.